It was a Sunday morning, the kind that smelled like fresh coffee, gospel hymns, and hope. 82-year-old Marjorie Tate, dressed in her best lavender suit, pinned her silver hair, and headed to St. Luke's Church, the same church she'd attended for over 50 years. Her house, the old white cottage on Willow Street, was her pride. Every flower in the front yard had a story. Every creak in the hallway carried laughter, prayers, and the voice of her late husband, John. She left that morning with peace in her heart. But when she came back home, the key wouldn't turn. She twisted it again and again. Then she saw it, a shiny new lock glinting in the sunlight. Her name was still on the mailbox, but her home was no longer hers. "Hello," she called out, knocking softly. No answer. She peeked through the front window and froze. Her niece, Angela, was sitting on her couch, feet on the table, a glass of wine in her hand, and next to her, a moving box labeled Marjorie's room. Marjorie's voice trembled. "Angela, honey, what's going on?" Angela opened the door just enough to show her face, cold, sharp, rehearsed. "Aunt Marjorie, you're moving in with us. You said you couldn't keep up with the bills. I took care of everything." "Took care of everything?" Marjorie whispered. "Without asking me?" "You'll thank me later," Angela said, closing the door. The lock clicked shut. That night, Marjorie sat on the church steps, her lavender suit damp with tears and drizzle. But what Angela didn't know was that Marjorie had one secret she never shared, a lawyer's envelope tucked deep inside her Bible, and that secret would soon rewrite her entire legacy.
For more real stories of pain, truth, and redemption, subscribe now and hit the bell icon. Your support keeps these voices alive.
Marjorie didn't go back to the house that night. She stayed in the small prayer room behind St. Luke's Church, the same room where she used to teach Sunday school. The pastor offered her tea. She smiled weakly, holding her Bible close to her chest. Inside that Bible was a yellow envelope, sealed, crisp, and dated 3 years ago. It read, "Last Will and Testament, Marjorie E. Tate." She had drafted it quietly after John died, naming Angela as her heir, thinking family meant love, not opportunity. But that was before Angela sold her memories for mortgage papers. The next morning, Marjorie made a call, one she hadn't made in years. "Good morning, Mr. Willis. This is Marjorie Tate. I need to change my will." Her voice didn't tremble this time. Over the next few days, she worked quietly. New will, new lawyer, new power of attorney. Every signature was a quiet victory, and she made sure to include one line, short but powerful. "In the event of betrayal by family, all assets shall be redirected to charity." Angela thought she had everything, the house, the title, the furniture. But she never checked the small safe under the kitchen sink, the one only Marjorie knew how to open. Inside lay the deed to a small piece of land, 5 acres, untouched, and worth more than she could imagine. Marjorie donated it, anonymously, to build affordable homes for widows, and when the papers were signed, she finally smiled. Angela's betrayal cost her a house, but it gave Marjorie something far greater: purpose. Weeks later, Angela called, voice trembling. "Aunt Marjorie, I just got a letter from the lawyer." Marjorie's tone was calm. "Then you already know, sweetheart. I changed the locks too, just not the ones you thought. And for the first time in months, Marjorie laughed.
For more real stories of pain, truth, and redemption, subscribe now and hit the bell icon. Your support keeps these voices alive.
A month passed before Angela showed up at the church. Her once perfect smile was gone. Her eyes were red, her voice heavy with regret. She waited until service ended, then approached Marjorie as she placed her hymnal back on the pew. "Aunt Marjorie," she whispered, "why would you do this to me?" Marjorie turned slowly, her silver hair glowing in the morning light. Her face was calm, not angry, not bitter, just tired. "I didn't do this to you, Angela. You did it to yourself. You changed my locks. I just changed my legacy." Angela's tears came fast. "I thought you couldn't take care of yourself. I was just trying to help." Marjorie sighed softly. "Helping doesn't start with taking someone's key, dear. It starts with asking if they're okay." She placed her wrinkled hand over Angela's. "I loved you enough to forgive you, but not enough to trust you again." Outside, a lawyer waited by his car, holding a small brown envelope. Inside it were Marjorie's final papers, notarized and sealed. Her estate now belonged to the Widows of Willow Foundation. Angela received nothing but a letter, handwritten, trembling, yet strong. Dear Angela, love without respect is just control, and family without honesty is just a house without a door. Aunt Marjorie. When Marjorie left the church that day, she didn't look back. Her old cottage was gone, her savings modest, but her spirit untouched. She had turned pain into purpose, betrayal into balance, and loss into legacy. Sometimes justice doesn't come from the courtroom. It comes from the quiet strength of an old woman who refuses to let greed win. And that is how Marjorie Tate finally came home, not to her house, but to peace.